Well, Emma, thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Natalia Astráin for Telemundo Deportes, and it's a big pleasure and incredible moment for me to interview you.
Well, it's very nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you. We start with the first question. Where are you right now? How are you settling in this adventure to be with the head coach with the national team?
Well, 1 year on, had a chance, especially since the Olympics, to not just learn about the whole playing pool, learn the league, and seen many more games. I already understand what it takes to work in the USA, so it felt really natural for me. But I feel we're in a position now where we have a really clear strategy in terms of our next steps as a team. This camp is probably the last opportunity we will see a volume of new players come through the program at this stage. And I feel like we are very clear on our next steps.
Yeah, this is other point that I wanted to ask you. We have seen from the Olympics, and this year you are bringing new players, younger players. Could be next year, for example, the time that you will narrow down the roster, thinking more in CONCACAF, for example?
Yeah, I think even by October, to be honest. In my head, we had January till July of a lot of experimentation, plus the development of the under-23 program, and the under-23 program to run side by side. So even here in Denver, the under-23 program is here, so I can watch them too. So I get to develop a larger pool of players. And it's not just for the US women's national team. I think it's good for the pro game. And I think there are not so many games in the US compared to Europe at the club level. So I think it's a good opportunity for players to keep developing. And I feel like we've had some pregnancies, we had some injuries. And so I had to develop a different group. We have a goalkeeper retired. You know, we had a lot of change that was required investment and patience, no matter the result. Because every time you think we have to win. I know I want to win, but I think in order to develop, we need players, especially the less experienced players, to experience the top level games early, and it not be the first time they do it in a major tournament.
Yeah, I think that in comparison with Europe, right, with the teams have probably the structure of the academy and have this experience, and I see you like with the 23s, and you are overseeing all the program, no? And I think this is very new in US soccer, and I think the player when arrive to the camp probably, what is the first thing that they see you or they say to you when they see you and have this opportunity to work with you?
Well, I think in the US, playing for the national team is everything. So they already have a lot of feeling and a lot of emotion. For me, I want to be there to teach them that you're on the field for 2 hours maximum a day, and you have 22 other hours. And I want to influence how you manage those things and how you live those things, how you sleep, how you recover, how you eat, how you rest, how you interact, how you train your brain to cope. Because, like you said, in Europe, if you think there's the Champions League, there's the Nations League. If you think of your country, how many players play in under 17 World Cup, under 20 World Cup, I don't think it's been the same in the US. They have played less high quality games, so I have to close the gap. And I explain this to the players, this is why we are doing it. And I think the players are always so excited. I just always say to them, just be yourselves. You know, don't focus on improving, not prove. Don't prove to me, improve every day, all the things you have to do. And we have a fantastic group of staff and a methodology and a game model and mental skills development. So we have a program that I'm able to bring to the US and hopefully help advance the game.
Yeah, when we have opportunity to interview other players, they always talk highly about how you take care about the person, no? Itself, it's not the player playing soccer, all the things like you talk, no? The sleep, the food, everything around, and they always appreciate a lot this approach that you have to them. And other point, like they highlight is you always talk about women's soccer, like you don't want to compare with men's soccer, no? And I think this for us is huge, because always during our life we are compared, no?
Well, our game has been taught through male lens. So everything we've been taught technically, tactically, coached, developed from injury. Everything has been developed from the men's game. And of course, there are fantastic things to learn from the men's game. But I am all about seeing it through a female lens. And if we have an injured player, are we thinking about the fact that we have a menstrual cycle? Are we thinking about we don't develop muscle in the same way men do? The same with the game. If in the men's game a fullback can hit the ball over the back of the opponent's fullback, well, we can't do that in the women's game. Okay, maybe it changes our organisation somewhere. So I'm very much about developing those insights, and most importantly, now we are developing the research in and around those insights, so that hopefully US Soccer over the years will be able to share through coach education and lead the way for the next steps for the women's game.
You mentioned about the principles and the things that you wanted to work. What are the main principles in your game model? What are the first thing? I know that it's only 1 year, you just arrived, no, more or less, but like what are the most important principles in your game model that you want to implement in the team?
Well, we work very clearly to, we speak our language. We have very clear pitch geography, we have very clear principles of play. We are able to talk to the players in such a way that helps them to understand ideas very quickly. And of course, we have 3 very clear attacking principles and 3 very clear defensive principles. The same with every element of the game. If we're going to have the ball a lot, we have to be good from throw-ins. If we have the ball a lot, we have to be good from corners. If we have the ball a lot, we have to be good at counter-pressing. So it's in relation to the team we have, because I know we have high quality. But of course, at the heart of everything I teach is the principles never change, but positions might. So maybe the fullback goes a little bit higher, but the principle is still the same. You still need width, you still need low support, you still need high support, you still need depth, you still need a stretch run. So the principles never change, just positioning. And then we teach them in a variety of different ways, depending on how we want to break the opponent down. Are we trying to attract pressure to draw them out, or teams, do they naturally come out, so makes the spaces in between bigger for us? Most of the time we are now playing teams that play very compact, so we have to be really clever and intentional about how we do that. A lot of rotations, lots of things, but the players have done so well to understand that, and I think in the next 2 years it's about really getting those things even clearer with a smaller group of players, so that our playing style gets closer to the top level teams.
Yeah, I'm very impressed about how you guys work the Contra press, for example, for say something, and the versatility of the rotation. No, I think that this is something that you implement with the team. No, a player like a Catalina Macario can play as a false nine, coming through between the lines and rotate player, and sometimes you see in the roster 4 midfielders, but in reality are not 4, no? And this, I think that, and you mentioned how the player get that. They are hungry, they are really into it, to work about that.
You have to be tactically flexible. You play against teams, sometimes they change something. And you have to create little situations for you to have advantages. That's what the game is. That's what my job is as the coach. So I prepare the players always for what I think is going to happen. Sometimes it doesn't. Are we flexible to adapt? And then how do we develop that? And the players, I think they showed it. I think about the gold medal final when we started the game a certain way, and 20 minutes we change. And boom, very quickly we can make those adaptations because the principles are really clear. The game model is really, really clear. But that's taken me 25 years to get to this point. And, you know, the players, they play an important part in that too to make sure it happens. But, you know, I divide things up in such a way where I coach the things that I'm very strong at, attacking. Denise, my assistant, she deals with the defending strategies for our team. And then I have someone who does all the restarts. So that we've almost become coaches. I think American sports have influenced me a lot, and I have taken things from football, from basketball, in a way that I apply it to football so that we are specialists in our areas. And I think that's something that has really helped.
Talking a little bit more deeper about the games that you face now, Ireland and Canada, what do you expect from the team about those games?
Well, I think we have a very inexperienced group here, so I hope to see what they are doing at the 23 level in terms of understanding the game model and the principles. There's already a good starting point. I think for the players that have been with us, in particular since January, again, another progression tactically and in the execution of those things, because we're going to play a team like Ireland that they're not going to want to give us a lot of spaces, especially behind. So how are we going to break that opponent down? And then you have to do it again. You have to repeat it in 4 days, which is never easy. Playing the same opponent in close window. And then we have to play a rivalry game, which is very important to the people of America and the players. And all of the things that matter, but not to give that too much energy. Because it can be too emotional about those things. But I expect progression. I always expect progression. Like I tell the players all the time, every day is the final. Every game is the final. Every training session is the preparation for that. Like not turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. I believe in consistency in performances.
Yeah, but I think this linked perfectly with the American mentality that you mentioned, right?
I think it's why I'm very suited to be the coach of this team. I think the mentality piece, never seen anything like it. I think it's what sets the Americans apart here. But we have to combine the tactical piece, because at the top level, you cannot just go and press everywhere. You have to be really intentional. Can we do it? If not, when, how, who? And these are the things that I think we've worked hard in the last year. The team, I think, looks much more cultured playing top-level international football.
Agree, yeah. Talking specifically about positions, for example, for forwards, no, I think that it's a difficult moment to decide, because all of them are in a high, and you mentioned pregnancy, and now you are trying other players, but how difficult how is the moment to choose what player play and what not, right?
I think it will get more difficult. I was evaluating yesterday how deep the pool is getting. So I think as we start building, it's going to get harder to get into the team. But I want that, and I want the players to accept that. But at the same time, you have to do everything to be able to play in this team. So I think in Sophia Smith, a world-class number 9, yeah, we have missed her since the Olympics, but we also gave us the opportunity to develop Kat Macario. I think in Lynn, Biandolo is a player who always comes from the bench, impact. So I feel like in every position there is a lot of depth, but maybe not a lot of experience in every position. So that's why I have to keep creating these situations. But I'm always a coach when people say, oh, you don't have this or you don't have that. I'm like, I don't think like that. I'm like, there are plenty of players. I believe in coaching and teaching them and preparing players. And if I think 1 year on, I look at the playing pool now and I feel like we're in a much better position than we were 12 months ago.
Yeah, for sure. And about goalkeeper, probably this question is more as a coach as well, like a curious. You dominate the game so much. Sometimes they are not tested in the game. They barely have action. How you and your staff can evaluate the goalkeeper in this case, like for the club performance, for practice, because I can imagine that could be really difficult.
I mean, it is very difficult, but we're very clear on what we are looking for in their development. Often the goalkeeper is a spare player, so you need to be training as a spare player. And usually in my sessions, I don't have a lot here, but the goalkeeper is with us in every part of the session, because around 80% of their football actions are decision making with their back four, particularly in the build-up. So you need to train that, and you need to train it under pressure. So we have asked for these things to take them back to club. Can you bring in more decision making to what you are doing? Because yes, making one big save a game is important as a US women's national team goalkeeper, but so is developing how to play against a team that is player for player. And you are the spare player, and what is your decision making and what is your execution? Can you bounce the play out to the next spare player, yes or no? Or if you're playing long, where are you playing? Why are you playing there? So a lot of work always that goes on to the development of that. And they are inexperienced but at international level, but all very good quality.
And this question is more as a Mahes, as a coach, as a role model for all of us. You are pioneer in England. Here you are doing an amazing job. What could be one of the biggest challenges that you face in your life as a women coach on the sideline?
I mean, I think the biggest challenges is always just maybe just sexism and the misogyny that comes with it, just being a woman there. I don't know, sometimes the referees will come over and they go to my male assistant before me. Sometimes there'd be aggression on the touchline from coaches towards the officials or the players that I always struggle with. But I think the biggest challenge for me is being a mum, and the challenges of being a mum in football and having to do that, because it's important to be a mother too. But I also want to live that in a way that works for women, not do it the same way the men's team do it, or because it's a different world. And now for me the biggest challenge is the menopause, and how to be able to keep my brain fresh when I might need a little more rest. But I think it's knowing what you need at what stage you are at. That's maybe the most important thing. And now I don't worry about certain things that I used to, and I think I'm better for it.
Other question was about your Spanish that I mentioned before, because all the fans in Telemundo see you. You can say something to them in a little Spanish. I don't know if I force into you a lot.
Hola, todo el mundo, estoy Emma. Hablo español a veces cuando quiero, pero nada más.
Muy bien, muchas gracias.
¿Está bien?
Muy bien, perfecto.
Gracias.
Ya que nos encontraste,
No nos pierdas.
Suscríbete al canal de YouTube de Telemundo Deportes.